We are back. It's Eli, the Marfan homie. How's everybody doing? Applaud for making it to the next week. So, how are you guys doing? I hope everything is going well. Um, yeah, I hope everything is going well. But where are we? What am I thinking right now? I don't even know. But why is there such an echo? There's some type of echo going on. I don't know where it's coming from. So I'm gonna have to pause and listen. All right. So that wasn't bad. I don't know where it's coming from. However, it could sound how it sounds. It doesn't sound bad when I play it back. Hopefully, it doesn't sound bad on YouTube. And that's just something we're gonna have to see after I'm done recording. But hi everyone. Like I said, I'm back. Eli, the Marfin home. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Hello, 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 hello. So yeah, I think that was it. Little tuner thing on the soundboard. But hi. So I'm recording with a different device. Hopefully it turns out well. I don't know what I'm telling you guys, but I guess I'm just nervous and pushing myself to do this episode today. Nonetheless, just a little bit of nervous because I am about to go in depth of my heart surgery that I had. But yes, so like I said, when I discussed my last three heart surgeries, I said I was going to go in depth on the second one that I had. So this is what this episode's about. But before we get started on that, we got to do a recap. So what's happened since? So apartment hunting. So trying to figure out whether to leave the current apartment that me and my girlfriend currently stay in, or go somewhere else. But I think we've decided to go somewhere else. However, just apartment hunting. So you can best believe after I record this episode, we are going to look out one or two apartment neighborhoods and see what they have to offer and see if they're in the budget. Because again, things are expensive these days, and too much expenses, I guess, not enough money. But they say with more money comes more expenses. So you choose. Um, what else has happened since? Sunday date night, that was good. Um, Sunday date night, that was good. Where did we go? We went to go see the George Foreman movie. That was pretty good. And then we went to some elephant restaurant. So it was like a Pan Asian theme restaurant. So they had a lot of good food, a lot of different food. What else did we do? And then we went to our favorite hookah lounge, Zatar in Dallas. So if you're ever in Dallas and hookah or Mediterranean food is your thing, stop by Zatar and try it out. They're awesome. The staff is great. They pretty much know us. It's pretty good. If you're going on a Sunday, I would just say go when it opens because it gets packed in there. If you're going on a Saturday, you have nothing to worry about. Friday, nothing to worry about. Any other day of the week that they are open, nothing to worry about. Sorry. And with that, my allergies are getting to me today. I don't know what's going on. But yeah. So what's happened since? Oh, well, how's the month going? I think that's all that happened since the last time I recorded. Last time we met. So how's the month going? The month is going good. Like I said, these allergies are whipping my butt. I was telling somebody that once I touch my nose and it has pollen on it, it's a wrap. So I try to avoid like using my dirty hands to go across my nose. Something must have happened in these past couple of days because I cannot stop sneezing. I actually had two Benadryls hours prior to this recording, so hopefully they work out. My sneezing hasn't been so bad, so I think it's working. And I think I'm a little woozy, so I guess it's working. How else? Like I said, apartment hunting. So we'll be doing that this month, and then we have somewhere to go 2 weeks from now. So yeah, we're just preparing for that as well. Um, what else? That's it. Work. How's work going? Work is going good. What have we been doing? Like I said, I'm in that program that I mentioned to you guys, the leads program. So no details on that. It's just it's going how it's going. Like we become a better person. Yay, better leader. So applaud. Yeah. So now let's get to it. Let me relax so I don't have to feel like I'm rushing it. 1 second. As I clear my nose, YouTube, don't judge me. So the meat. So like I said, this episode is to basically piggyback off of the last episode that I talked about all my heart surgery. So like I said, I've had 3 heart surgeries, one in 2012, one in 2018, and one in 2020. But the one in 2018 is probably the one that affected me the most, like changed the way I see, I guess, life. And it's like, yeah, the way I see life, I don't know why it changed me, but I think I say it in here, so we're gonna get to it. So May, and let's start. Let's go back down the road to May 2018. So in May 2018, 1 year after I graduated, my job had offered me to go to the job that I was at had offered me to go to a place that was like an hour from them. So I had to drive there every day. Highly stressful situation. But prior to that, I didn't even reach the place yet. Prior to that, they were stressing me to learn a lot of things that they never really taught me over the full year that I was there. And they just wanted me to go to this place and expect them to teach everything. I was like, I'm gonna teach them everything of nothing because I don't know anything. There was no learning period. You guys do me to pull a shark and said swim, and I said I'll try. However, that was one situation. The other situation, again, the stressful situation. There was another situation. I was working with these group of guys. That turned into a whole stressful situation. That was outside of work, and then on top of that, this wasn't stressful, but it was just played a part. So at the time, my ex-girlfriend and I, when we were living together, a mutual friend of ours came to visit, and we decided to take them out. And I don't know if the food did this, but whatever. It could have been happening already. However, we had went to Chewy's, a Tex-Mex restaurant here in Texas, a chain, and then I haven't eaten Chewy's since that day. But we had walked in, ordered the food, drinks, blase. Walked in, ordered the food, basically kidney stones. So I end up basically waking myself up out the middle of the night, think I'm in pain, kidney stones. I don't know what's going on. So I asked my girlfriend at the time to go to the store to get some ginger ale, and got the ginger ale. Tried to go back to sleep, wouldn't let me go back to sleep, and it sucked at that time. It really sucked at that time. So went to the hospital. They said, hey, it might be kidney stones. Ran the test. It wasn't kidney stones. So then basically they had to run another test. And what happened? They had to run another test. And then they basically found out that I had a dissection. So basically, that's your aorta just ripping from the inside, I guess, or tearing from the inside. So they said, hey, we're not equipped to work with this, so let's go back and we're going to get you to another hospital, Dallas Presbyterian, all the way in Dallas. So that was about 40, 50 minutes from me at the time. And then, so that was also my first time riding in the ambulance. So they got me in the ambulance. Girlfriend and our friend rode basically and ended up there like 10 minutes after me and whatnot. So they kept me there for about like 2-3 days. People that I knew prior, like in Georgia, prior to moving to Texas, they came to visit. They were in town that day, so they had came to visit and stuff like that. And the support, the love and support that I had from basically them coming to visit was very much loved and appreciated. So I appreciate y'all for that. But got out of there in like 2-3 days. So then basically, as I get out, I take like a week off of work, and then what happens during that week? So I take like a week off of work, and what happened? What happened? I took like a week off of work. Uh, Went back to work on that Friday. Like I said, I had this contract. I'm doing a contract for my job. Stressful situation. I'm doing a contract for my job. Didn't pretty much enjoy it. I don't think they liked me, but it was whatever. But I pretty much didn't enjoy it. I was getting paid. I was getting a little extra money because I was driving out there, so they were paying for my time to travel and stuff like that. So that was cool. Other than that, the work wasn't getting done. Well, no, don't let me not say that. It's not that the work wasn't getting done. It was just I don't know why I was there. Honestly, I couldn't be honest about that. I do not know why I was there. But either way it goes, I'm here now. So what happens? Special work assignment. So yeah. So all those months go by. I'm at that place. Stressful situation. I had 2 stressors prior to that. Whatever. So now we're driving to Atlanta. Driving to Atlanta, no problem. Drove to Atlanta, no problem. Couldn't figure out for the life what caused this. But Marfan, right? But drove to Atlanta, no problem. Had Thanksgiving dinner, no problem. So it was up until the point where me, my cousin, my brother, and my sister had went out for just to go out. I mean, it's been a while since we all seen each other, just to go out. So yeah, for the life of me, I could not figure out what's going on. I walked in, ordered drinks at the place that we went to. Walked in, ordered drinks, and my body just instantly started to tighten up. And so I stopped drinking the drink. Ultimately, the feeling of the tightening went away. And everything to my knowledge was fine. But yeah, everything to my knowledge was fine. Walked in, went, ordered the drink, but I couldn't take it anymore. Put the drink down. I said, hey, I asked my brother, could he drive me back to the car? Not drive me back, walk me back to the car. He was like, everything all right. And I'm just gonna say, yeah, everything is fine, knowing damn well it wasn't. But I'm sitting in the car, so I called my other cousin. She's like, what's going on? I'm just like, I don't know. My body is not feeling it. She's like, well, what are you doing? I was like, well, me, so-and-so went out. And so basically stayed on the phone with her up until my brother and the rest of my family came back. And what happened? Oh, yeah, I got into that car, laid that seat out. Because, again, it felt like my body was, like, basically squeezing. So I went in the car and just reclined all the way back and just, like, started to, I guess, decompress and just open up and let my body just open. I don't know if that was good or a bad thing or whatever the case may be. But, so basically the feeling went away, and then what's sucky that night, I didn't get any sleep, and then I had to drive 12 hours all the way back to Texas. So I drove the last 9 hours, and she drove the first 3 because like I was tired, I didn't get any sleep coming from the club, blah blah blah. And so that was that. So driving back to, but no, there we go. Driving back to Texas, again, you would think like sitting in the car for 12 hours that your body would start to feel that again, or at least that's what I thought would happen. But I chalked it to being in an SUV versus a car because we'll get into that later. But it's just like nothing happened. I felt fine going back. So again, got back on a Sunday. So we left like 6 a.m., 6 a.m. Got there about 5:12 p.m. and gained an hour because, we're 2 different time zones. Eastern and Central. So what happened? Sunday, got in, took a shower, put the dog up, went to sleep. Not even that. Because I think, yeah, not even that. Uh, at the time when I had my dog, we'd actually boarded him up and boarded him up and had him over at someone else's house. And so Monday we went to go get the dog. But again, that Sunday, no pain, no anything. Took a shower, went to bed, everything was fine. Um, so Monday, bam. Let's see. Here it goes. Getting into it. Driving to work that Monday. Excuse me. So driving to work that Monday. So I'm driving again, blasting my music, just getting ready, driving an hour away to this special assignment, trying to finish this off before the end of the year. Right when I reached like my third highway just to get to that job, a pain right here, like between my rib cage and like my stomach, started just paining me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is horrible." So I'm honestly powering through it, and I don't suggest this to anybody. If you feel that pain, or if you've ever had this surgery, you know that pre-pain that you get that goes up to this surgery. If someone describes that pain to you, tell them to go to the hospital because it is the worst pain ever. So yeah, that was definitely a thing. So reached like that highway, got to work, got out, stretched. Everything was all right. The Monday, everything was okay. Went in, did the work, set up, eat, drink, laugh, like drink tea, drink coffee, whatever. Like we normally. However, that place did have beer, and you were allowed to have a beer after work or on Fridays during retro. Um, However, got in, stretched my body out. Everything felt fine. Honestly, everything felt fine. Yeah, everything felt fine. Talking to people on the like normal, everything was okay. So I would say, then I'll get back in the car to drive back. Now it's like 2 hours because of rush hour. What happened? What honestly happens? What happened? Nothing. Felt fine. Body felt fine. Body, mind, and soul felt fine driving back home. Like I said, go back home. Everything's okay. Didn't say anything about it to my ex either. I didn't say anything about it, and so wake up next morning, Tuesday. Tuesday comes around, and I can smile about it now, but sometimes when I talk about it, I was like, man, I had a near life death experience. Tuesday, get to the third highway to get to this job. Wake up, get ready, third highway to get to this job. Same pain, same spot. Like, I guess, like, okay, if my body's in this position for this long amount of time, that's when it starts acting up. But again, God could have also been talking to me like, hey, this is your second warning. I'm only going to give you one more before you come and meet me. Like, it was, like, I think it could have been that bad. But, so Tuesday, same exact spot, but now this time I get out the car. It takes a little bit longer for that pain to subside and go away before I walk into the building. And then during this day, I was talking to one of my team members, a much older guy. So I'm just like, if he's experiencing this when he's at his age, I shouldn't be experiencing this. I should not be experiencing this now. But again, Marfans. Just blame it on the Marfans, right? You don't like water? Why? Marfans. But he's talking to me. He was like, oh, yeah, my mother-in-law got me this Apple Watch. It, like, takes my heart. I can do an EKG and stuff like that. Oh, I should have wrote that on here, buying the Apple Watch during recovery. But while he's talking, my body is going through it. I couldn't talk. My body was tightening up. I was standing there. I felt like I was about to faint, but I didn't. It's just, I don't want to be embarrassed, so I'm not going to faint in front of anyone. But it felt hella weird, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, he's talking." Like, I've never had a problem with someone talking to me. It's just this time I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's talking so much," and I love this guy. I love actually talking with him, and he was a cool dude, real cool dude. But I was like, man, if you don't shut up, I gotta sit down. Um, it was weird, but it was that same place just tightening up, but now it's tightening up while I'm standing up talking. So I can't even say anything because it also felt like I was running out of breath. It was weird. So basically, that day goes. Um, go home, finally share like, hey, I've been getting this weird pain at the same exact spot when I'm going to work, and I mean, again, not for nothing. Like she tries to play it off, but I don't. And she probably doesn't understand like the severity of it. Like I was in pain, like how much pain I was, because I'm high tolerance. If I'm complaining about pain, I'm in pain if I'm complaining about it, because I have a very high tolerance for pain. Um, so, but I'm just like, hey, if it happens again, I have no choice. I gotta go to the hospital. Third time's a charm. Like they don't just say that for a reason, for no reason. She's like, okay. So, Wednesday, wake up. Well, go to bed. Everything's fine. Wednesday, wake up. Everything's fine. Hop in the car. Third highway. Same exact spot. I said, nope, can't do it today. So I called her. I was like, hey, it happened again. I'm checking into the emergency room. You need to come. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, you need to come. That's all I had. You need to come. Like, that was it. 4 words. And she was like, all right, I'll call my manager, tell him I'm leaving out of work. Bam, bam, bam. And I was like, all right. So I go to my job. I was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it in today. Call me. I give them the laptop. I give them the cord. It was like, everything's fine. I was like, yep. I didn't want them to know anything. I didn't want them in my business. What about bam, bam, bam. All right. Let me check the camera. Hold on. All right, we're still good. We're still good. But yeah, y'all see the Lee on the shirt. But that Wednesday, so at this time, I'm not in Fort Worth. I'm in Irving. I lived in Fort Worth, but I was driving to Irving every day for like 6-7 months at this time. That Wednesday, dropped off the laptop, said peace, and left. Went to Dallas Presbyterian because again, it's sort of like a heart hospital, and that's the only thing that I knew. I mean, that's where I went. I went there, and the doctor, the ER doctor, recognized me. She's like, "Oh, you're back." She's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Chest pains, chest pains." They was like, "Oh, snap! All right, we got to get you in here. And you got Marfan. Your heart could be exploding for all we know." So chest pains. She was like, "Oh no, you're so young." After they ran the test, she was like, "Oh no, you're so young." I want to go back there just to see if she's still there, honestly, because she was a part of the reason why I'm still here. She quickly diagnosed it, quickly sent me to Baylor Scott and White in Plano, a heart hospital in Plano. But much thank you to her, much applause to her. Let's go ahead and give her a round of applause. But she was like, "Oh no, you're so young." So at this time, AAA, abdominal aorta aneurysm. I suffered an abdominal aorta aneurysm. So basically, what that is, it's the swelling of your aorta in, let's say, one part. And I think the way they explained it to me is like, let's just say, for instance, your aorta is the size of a plum. Is the size of a plum. However big a plum is. That is a tube the size of a plum. The aneurysm will cause it to expand to the size of an orange, and like let's just say, or a grapefruit, like the biggest fruit you could probably think of, like a coconut or something, like with a dried coconut. So basically, I suffered from an abdominal aorta aneurysm, AAA, and she was just like, "We're not equipped here to take care of this. We're gonna have to send you to my pals up at Baylor Scott and White Heart Hospital in Plano." Second time riding in an ambulance. By that time, my ex is there, and we're just gearing up. Honestly, she starts crying. I'm emotional because I'm just like, what is going on? And it was a moment, man. It was a real deal moment. I'm not gonna cry on camera, but however, it was a real moment. So at that time, I'm texting one of my friends. And I tell them that, hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Like, everything is just gonna be fine. I was like, hey, I'm doing something. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Everything's gonna be fine. No need to worry. Whatever. Bam, 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 bam. And however, that is literally not the case. That is not the case at all. So I call my sister first. I call my sister because she's a little bit easier to talk to and little just easier to talk to, especially in like high stress situations like a surgery, like stuff like that. And again, even before I got to Billy Sky and White, the lady told me, like, hey, you're gonna have to have surgery and they're gonna do it. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. Like I said, I got people crying. I got to make phone calls. I got to damn near make a will. Like, it was bad. So I called my sister. I was like, hey, the doctor is just like, well, I just explained to her the situation. Like, hey, I've been having pain in my chest 3 days in a row. And I'm out here at the hospital, and they're basically saying I'm going to have surgery. They're going to have to transfer me. And she's like, what? And I woke up out her sleep. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. It's not even 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning yet. So imagine people are still asleep, and my sister, she's a stay-at-home wife, and it's just like, again, drop the kids off, come back, get your rest in, and do what you have to do. But I call her, she's like, what? So she immediately goes into mom mode and just like, what's going on? Like, what do you need? Do you want me to call mommy? Do you want me to and I was like, yeah, can you call her first? She calls my mom first. Honestly, like 10 minutes later, I'm surprised my mom's a flight attendant as well. So it's just like the fact that she was even available to answer her phone, it's all power from the Most High. Like it was crazy. So she got through to my mom, and my mom calls me like 10 minutes later. It's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm just like, all right, so I'm at the hospital. They said I have an abdominal aneurysm, and I'm going to have surgery. And from what they're telling me, it's probably one of the biggest surgeries that anybody could have, which is the truth. Again, I have a scar going from my belly button to the top of my left shoulder blade. That's how big that scar in surgery was. And that's how much they took out of my freaking aorta and replaced with, I guess, with whatever synthetic material they use these days. Such a, I can laugh about it now, or in some situations, and I'm choosing to laugh about it now because, like I said, I'm not crying on camera. I'm not crying over the air. But my mom calls me, tell her what's going on. She's like, all right, I got to tell them I can't go to work today. I got to fly out to come to see you. I was like, all right, do what you have to do. I'll be here. If not, my girlfriend at the time, she'll pick up the phone. My sister calls back. She's like, hey, I'm looking for flights. I'll be there when you wake up. And she was there when I woke up. However, like my mom, so I'm in the surgery for what, 8, 10, 12 hours, however long they could hold me. So at that point, my girlfriend goes and picks up my mom from the airport. I think my sister took a Uber or whatnot to the hospital, but I'm in surgery for a long time. And when I post this video and this podcast, I urge you to go onto Instagram and look at the photos that I have from that day, how swollen I was, the scar, and just everything, and just my post about that, because I mean, again, just to see those photos and just to see people that have had that surgery and what they had to go through and where they came from, the amount of machines that people have been hooked up to, that I was hooked up to, it was crazy. But so from what I understand, I still barely even, I always do this when it's time to no, let's not skip to that. So I make all the phone calls, and so like I said, I was texting my friend, right? I was like, hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I suck it up and I say, all right, I'm BSing. I'm not texting you back tomorrow. I'm about to have the biggest surgery of my life. and they go into a panic. They go into a panic. Like, what do you mean? What do you do? Have you told anybody else? I'm like, no, no, and no. Like, it was weird. Um, so at that point, I was like, yeah, you're right. So I went in to the group message that we have. I told all my friends, hey, I'm about to have this surgery, and no, that's not how that happened. I waited a couple days. When I woke up and I was finally able to text and like feel my hands, they were like, "Have you told anybody else?" Well, if you haven't, you should go in and tell the rest of your friends. So I went in the group message, told them, and it was bad. It was very sad. But yeah, so that happened. So basically, put me in the ambulance to go to a different hospital. Girlfriend's riding behind or driving behind the ambulance. Got to the hospital. I meet the surgeon. Well, no, I met the nurse. The nurses, they gave me a big old room. I didn't even see that room the rest of the time I was there. However, they gave me like one of the biggest rooms to check in. It was crazy. Um, so I've never been stuck with 2 to 3 IVs at the same time. It was crazy. So they stuck me once in my wrist, and I still have the scar. I think that's the scar right there. Yeah, the right wrist. They stuck me right there. Still have the little bruise slash scar. They stuck me up here. So I had 2 IVs going to sleep. Basically going to sleep and meeting all the doctors and the I wish I could remember the title of that guy, but he was the person that basically administers the what do pregnant women get? You guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, it's gonna irk me, but basically they'll come to me. So I meet the surgeon, Dr. Brinkman, bright guy. He was like, "Hey, this is the surgery. So basically, you have a aortic aneurysm, a abdominal aortic aneurysm. It's swelled up, it goes from a plum to an orange, and honestly," and he goes on to tell me, he says, "If you would have waited till Thursday or Friday, definitely Friday, you would not be here. You would not be here. You would not be here talking to me. We would be planning your funeral, and you would leave a lot of loved ones behind." He was like, "You would leave a lot of loved ones behind, basically." So I'm just like, "What?" He's like, "I don't know what spoke to you. I don't know what discussions you had, but I'm happy that you're here. I'm honestly happy that you're here because again, it could have exploded while you were on the road, and you could either died again. You would have died from the aorta exploding, but it would have been worse off. You would have been crashed and probably caused some other death." Like he told me, very black and white, very plain and simple, that today was the day that this needed to happen. So basically, they planned to have the surgery on that Thursday. However, he was the first one. He was a surgeon. He came in, met him. He talked to me. So then I think it's the anesthesiologist. There we go. Epidural is the other word. So the anesthesiologist comes in. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. This is," before I even start, like, "I'm sorry. This is how I have to explain it." So again, as you know, you'll be asleep. You'll have the anesthesia. Well, yeah, the anesthesia puts you to sleep. However, apparently the anesthesiologist controls a lot to when it comes to like how your nerves function when you're asleep. Because he stated to me, he was just like, "So as you know, that part of your aorta is definitely connected to your spine and the nerves of your spine. So what my job is to control and watch the nerves, how they react and everything like that. Because again, there's a high possibility that you can go paralyzed just by detaching the aorta from all those nerves. It's a very intricate system in your body," as he went on to explain. So he said, if anything, I think I did get administered an epidural. Yeah, you have to. So while I was asleep, they administered an epidural to me, or probably before I went to sleep because I was just out of it. By the time they woke me up, they put the thing on, they put the mask on, out. That's all I remember. But so they administered the first epidural. I had two. I'm gonna tell you about the second one. They administered the epidural, and well, he was telling me, he was like, all right, the epidural is there to also help you, again, not go paralyzed. But again, I'm gonna be here. There's gonna be a very big team in the room at the time. Like it's gonna be a good amount of people watching over you and operating on you. So just best believe you are in good hands. I just need to tell you the outcomes or possibilities because that's my job. I said, okay. Got a little scared right there. I'm not even gonna hold you. I got a lot of scared. And then now someone's crying next to me and it's just like I don't know what to do. Like this is what it is. Yeah, being told what's going on. So yeah, time for the surgery, like what it would look like. That was it. And he's just like, and then the nurses came in like, well, you have a big day tomorrow. Again, even though you're gonna be sleeping, just try to get some rest and not too much think about it. Just enjoy this time that you have because the wake up time they had me sedated. So let's just say I did the surgery 6 a.m. 6 a.m. I did the surgery. Came out let's say 8 to 12 hours later. So anywhere from what's 6? What's that? 12 is another 6. So 2, anywhere from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'm out. But they I guess gave more sedation medicine because I slept until the next day. I didn't wake up until Friday. So like late Friday. But the pictures, oh my gosh, I was like, I wouldn't even want to wake up at that point because the swelling was just ridiculous. And I think that's probably more reason why they had to sedate me because of the swelling. And so from what I understood, again, you lose a lot of blood. They have to inject that blood back into you. And I still don't know my blood type. These are just a lot of questions I did not ask. But still don't know my blood type. However, that's one of the things that happened. Yeah, being sedated for hours. So after that, I guess they took pictures of me and whatever else, all the machines I was hooked to. But after that, I wake up. Family's there. My mom, my sister, and my ex is there, and they're just there. And I was in an ICU room at the time. I was in an ICU room. So they could actually be in there because again, like you wouldn't want to wake up after such a surgery by yourself. Like that's my thing. Like even though they're not the ones that went through it, it's just waking up there by yourself. You would be panicked. Like no one's looking after you. You would be in a straight panic. So I wake up again. Of course, you got the thing in your mouth that's helping you breathe. So they waited for me to wake up, and again, 2 to 4 hours after waking up, they can't take it out because you just have to be up. So I'll wait for this thing to come out, and then 2 hours after that, you can't eat anything, and the only thing you can eat at that point is ice. So they reach the point, I take it out, I'm over here scribbling letters, bam, bam, bam. I would say like the first night, and again, this goes into the next chapter, right? So like the next part. So ultimately, I spent 12 days in that hospital. I spent 12 days in that hospital, and I think on the first day, I smacked the nurse. I was in pain. I was in so much pain, and it wasn't a purposeful slap. It was, I don't know what to do with my body. I'm in so much pain, so my hands just started like doing all types of stuff. And again, you got the scar going up from here, and then what they did the sutures on the inside and the staples on the outside. It hurts. So they're telling me to calm down, deep breaths. Like when you start to breathe fast, your body reacts to that and it basically puts your nerves in an uproar after already being in an uproar. So smack the nurse. I apologize to Nurse Dustin. That's all my bad, man. And what's crazy is I saw him again on my other surgery that I had in 2020, but we're not talking about that. But uh, I, and he was like, Elijah, I'm gonna need you to keep your hands to yourself. It was the funniest way I said, I'm sorry, but I was drugged. I was in pain. They were trying to roll me over so my body could get some blood and movement. It was a stressful first day and more of a stressful 12 days. It was definitely a thing. I the so the next thing that I like, again, you're spending 12 days in the hospital. I think I could probably remember day for day if I really tried, but I'm not. But another thing is, again, now you have to work with the OT people and the PT people, and apparently those are just two different things. So I had to learn how to walk again, because after the 6 days, so again, the first 6 days, bed, just in the bed. And I actually think on the fifth day, third, fourth or fifth day, they tried to sit me up. They sat me up. I was very successful. They sat me up. And so sat me up and put me on the side of the bed, and I laid me back down. I think they tried again later on that day. And basically at that point, if you get nauseous, they say anything if you're nauseous, because that could be a sign of your back nerves doing something tricky. So what happened? Tried to sit me up again, basically, and I was like, "Hey, I'm nauseous." They was like, "Oh, lay the F back down." So they had to call the anesthesiologist. He came. I think dude was either on a date or at home or something. Whatever the case may have been. He had to drop everything he was doing. Came. He was like, "I heard you were feeling nauseous." I was like, "Yeah, I am." He was like, "Well, you know what that means, right?" I was like, "I forget." He was like, "We're gonna have to administer another epidural." So basically, they numbed me up, and apparently they didn't. I didn't see the needle or anything, but apparently, big old needle, shot it up my spine, shot the stuff up there. Couldn't lay back up or sit back up until the next day. Sat me back up, no problem. Then that was when I started sitting in the chair, like getting up and sitting into the chair. So next 6 days, they focus on me brushing my teeth, washing my face, wiping my butt, like all these functions that your body or your brain just like knew how to do. My body was so weak that it couldn't do any of that. Like me, I was like trying to wipe my butt. I was like, my hand couldn't even find where it was. It was weird. And again, it's my right hand, because my right hand, I was laying on my side. What they told me, I was laying on my side for over 12 hours. So basically my right hand went numb for like 2 days after waking up. But even then, it was a lot. So learning how to walk again, or just like, again, remember to put one foot in front of the other, was probably one of the biggest things. They make sure you can do that before going off. And it was crazy. Again, you're in pain. There's some days where you don't even feel like walking. So I start to walk. Start to walk. Got through with that. That was good. Learning how to brush your teeth, or just like making sure you can brush your teeth, I hated it. I was like, you sure I just can't just walk around with bad breath and yellow teeth? They was like, no, you have to make sure you have all these skills and that you're able to do it prior to going home. So I understood. What they were doing. I just didn't want to do it. What happened after? So I got smacking the nurse, learning how to walk. Okay, so another time was during my 12-day stay at Baylor Scott and White. What's the word? I asked to go downstairs. It was like, all right, as long as you don't leave or go outside, you'll be fine. So I was wheeled downstairs, and I'm looking outside, and I just start crying. And you know, like in some movies, like again, when you just like get better, you look at stuff and you like you're just appreciative for life. I think that was that moment. I went downstairs, got to as far as outside or to the door as I could get, and I start crying immediately. And the person that wheeled me down, they're just asking like, "What's wrong?" And I'm just like, I could have died. I'm looking outside. I see the trees. I haven't seen outside because again, from my window from the hospital, it's just like I wasn't even trying to look out the window. But I was just appreciative to be here. Again, I woke up. I saw my people, and I'm just appreciative of that. I'm not dead. Like it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. So what happened? What happened? What happened? So I sit there just looking outside, tears running down my eyes, and for like good 10 to 20 minutes, just sitting in the wheelchair, talking, and just tears running down my eyes, and I'm just looking outside. Again, just at that moment, I was just appreciative for life and just appreciative that I was there. And I had to just cope with that. But yeah, so basically now is the time where you have to take muscle like laxatives and gas pills, and because again you have to help your body start that function again of passing stool. That was something because I just don't think I've been right since that day or since those 12 days, because that was the thing. That was definitely a thing, and I just couldn't imagine, or just the thought of like I just don't know what was going on. But basically, nurses had to wipe my butt, had to wipe the doo doo from my but the stool from my rear end, and it was probably the most disgusting thing ever. But I couldn't do it. I tried to. My hand was just not ready to go. Like I moved my hand, it hurt. So like I would honestly have to uh take the stool pills and pain pills at the same time, just so I could wipe my butt by myself, like when I got home and stuff, or let's say wipe my butt, clean myself or whatever. It was weird, and I think at one time even my ex had to like wipe me for me because I just couldn't do it. I know one time they did stick me in the bathroom and it was like, hey, take a shower. So basically, she had to also give me a shower too. And I think honestly, I'm not a fan of the sponge baths in the bed at the hospital. I get that a patient can't move. I'm just not a fan of them. So, but I understand though. So let's just go bathing. Yeah, bathing. So I'm finishing up. So like basically, they had to like I said, brush my teeth, wash my face, wipe my butt, walk, get up out of bed on my own, like be able to turn myself. So I was able to do it for like 2 times. But there was one time when I got home and my mom was home, thankfully, I could not get up out of bed. I had to call my mom and ask her, even though she's like less than 10 feet away in the next room, I had to call her and be like, hey, I need help getting out of bed. She was worried that something had happened. She like ran inside the room. She's like, what are you calling me for? I was like, I gotta get up. Can you help me get up? Yeah, the ride home. When I tell you, I felt every bump in the road, even the little pebbles that the car drives over, and we say it's smooth. I felt all of it. I don't know how. The tires on the car were new, so whatever. But I felt all of that. It was ridiculous. What else happened? So yeah, got home. It took me like 10 minutes to walk from the car to the front door. And it's literally less than 20 feet from the parking space at that time. It took a long time. I think that first day, I just went home and went to sleep. Cause at that point, my mom had to go like the day before I checked out. My sister had to go like 2 days before I checked out. Or no, I think she stayed a week. So let's say I was in there 12 days. She stayed for like five. 5 or 6. But she eventually came back before Christmas and whatnot. But what happened? Uh, Basically just felt everything. My mom came back as soon as she could. She had to go back to work and came back, did what she could. But so basically at that point, I had like a lot of people come and visit me. My aunt came, my sister came, one of my friends came. My mom came multiple times. My other, well, yeah, my one of my other sisters came, but the sister that was there before, um, she came back. She brought her daughter, my niece. Her and my dog were rocking out in my dog's cage. It was weird, but it was definitely a thing, man. It was definitely an experience and a thing that I wish that we did not have to go through at all. But let's see the road to recovery. So the visitors, like I said, a lot of my family came. My food, the food and the appetite. So even in the hospital, I don't like hospital food anymore. People said, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what you guys. Hospital food is disgusting. No matter how many days you're in there, or the first day or the last day, hospital food is disgusting. So honestly, we were eating out every night while I was in the hospital. And but either way, my appetite took so long to come back that my family was scared because they were like, "You're not hungry?" And again, I eat everything. Like I eat a lot of food like during the day, and you guys know this based on my other episodes. I eat a lot of food. I eat a lot of food, and to know like I could barely fathom of taking a bite of food. So one thing that I noticed during that time was that if the plate looked too big, if the plate looked too big, I had to I had to I had to basically portion it. I had to go out and basically portion it like, hey, that's too big. I can't do that. So did the portion thing. Eventually, I would say like honestly, a month and a half after being home, my appetite finally came back and I was eating like normal me again, but it took a long time. I was intimidated by large portions of food on my plate. I sort of still am, and I sort of like that now because it it saves me from basically overeating, getting too full, or whatever else the case may be. So like I tell people like again, try like again try losing your appetite and bringing it back and get intimidated by large portions of food. You'll see how much you really like food then. But it was definitely that was one of the biggest steps, or the biggest one of the biggest drawbacks that I could like think of is just like being scared of large portions of food. My dog. So even then, so my dog at that point, he wasn't the biggest thing, but he was the strongest. He was pretty strong for his size, and sometimes again he just thinks he's a puppy. He doesn't really know his own strength, and at that point he's only like a year and 9 months. Honestly, so he was like a year and 9 months, so still a baby. Uh, so yeah, still a baby. So he's just trying to figure out like what's going on, why he can't get close to me and stuff like that. And I guess dogs have feelings too. Like he was pretty sad that he couldn't like get close and whatnot. And I was just like, hey man, I'm recovering. So, but when I started to recover, because I couldn't walk him either. So my girlfriend at the time, she did all the dog walking, all the dog feeding. Very, very stressful. And again, shout out to her. Like that was definitely a very stressful moment for everyone involved. Um, but like I said, the mental strain on all parties was just like again, even my mom that didn't live with me, she was so worried. She'd call in, having prayer warriors pray for me and all types of stuff. Again, it felt great to know again so many people were just on my side and just praying that I got through and and whatever else the case may be. But it definitely worked out in everyone's favor in the end, because guess what? I'm still here and I'm living to talk about it over and over and over again. Like I said, I can tell this story every day until the day I die. To a new person every day until the day I die, because it just goes to show, like, it can happen. It can happen. And again, they say that people that don't have Marfan syndrome tip stains, but they say that people that don't have Marfan syndrome sometimes get this and have abdominal aneurysms and have this surgery. So again, it can happen to anyone. So like I said, I'll sit here and tell this story every day. If there's a story for me to tell, this is a story to tell. So feeling weak some days. So that was another thing. Like I said, like you guys know, I'm big on the gym. I was big on the gym prior, and I'm still big on the gym now. But like feeling weak, like I couldn't get up out of bed. I couldn't raise myself out of bed. It took a lot of time to get all those abilities back, and then it took a long time to get the abilities back that I had in the gym. And yes, I went back to the gym. I think 2.5 months. I found myself back in the gym. I tried to do a pull-up, didn't work. Nope. My inside was definitely pretty much still healing. But I think 4 to 5 months after that surgery, I went to the gym. I did a pull-up. Didn't feel any like ripping sensation on the inside, and it worked for me. And I was like, okay, if I did this pull-up, that means I'm back and I can start to do certain things. And that was probably one of the happiest days about that road to recovery that I had. Oh, but even then, yeah, even with that, like I said, going back to work. So at my job at the time, I guess you had to be authorized to use the elevator. I wasn't authorized, and there was only one, and it was all the way in the back. I would have did more walking to the elevator than I would have done going up the steps. But with that, I went back to work because again, FMLA is running out, and it goes from like 100% to 60%. Just wasn't working out for me, right? So had to go back to work eventually. Then I didn't want to spend all my, I guess, savings at that point. Again, this is like real life adulting and real life everything hitting me at once, which was so crazy. But at that time, what happened at that time? Yeah, I had to take the steps. And taking those steps was such a chore. Was very much a chore. I just could not do it. It was a lot. I couldn't do it. And then they was like, oh, time to get back to work. And I'm just like, dude, they wanted me to debrief them on what I learned, debrief them on what I taught, continue to working. I'm just like, I'm only here because my FMLA is expired. Let's get that clear. Like, I did not want to be there. I didn't feel fully recovered, but again, you got to force yourself to do those things that basically either make you a living or just whatever. Like, you got to do all those things. So, don't worry, guys. I'm almost done. This is the last page. I had a lot to say. But, not feeling 100%. Like, again, I wasn't feeling 100% going to work. I wasn't feeling 100% going home. My portion, my belly, my appetite still small. I lost a lot of weight. I went from like 210 to 170 in less than 2 hours. Like just, well, in that time span, it was bad, man. It was definitely a thing. Oh, then I didn't even talk about how they woke me up at every 5 a.m. every morning to do an X-ray. Sometimes earlier, but never later. Waking me up to do an X-ray, and I think 1 or 2 days, and I was like, I'm not going today. They was like, you're gonna have to go sometime today. I was like, well, catch me at 12 o'clock, and that's exactly what they did. 12:01, they were in the room saying, remember what she said? But it was a lot of things. Yeah, not feeling 100%. That sucked. And again, I was still getting visitors. My mom would still visit. Even though it was at a later time than whatever, but my mom still visit, and it was just like, are you okay? I'm just like, I think I'm doing much better. Yeah, never really fully recovered. So I would say from that was like that surgery. Like I said, mentally, I'm not the same person mentally or I have some differences mentally that I didn't like that I didn't have before, and uh, and I'll be quite frank. I don't know why. What triggered on my mind? I am more sentimental to sad moments in a movie than I was before, and I've never said that out loud. But I am more sentimental to the sad moments in a movie than I am now. So if you ever see me get up and walk away during a sad moment in the movie, it's because I'm not about to cry in front of you, or I'm about to go get a napkin and catch my tears. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why, because honestly, before, sad moments in the movie didn't mean anything to me. I don't know why. Like, and I pinpointed it to that point in time of me going downstairs and just thanking God for life. And then every moment, or like every time I watched a sad movie after, it would just be waterworks, and honestly didn't know why. Um, but yeah, that's definitely one thing. But physically, I'm honestly, again, I'm not the same physically. Half of my abs are gone. They disrupted my muscle tissue within my stomach. I have the biggest scar that I'll ever have in my life going across my body. Um, I felt very much stronger back then, before prior to the surgery, than I do now. But I know I'm even stronger now. It's just I don't feel like it. So that's even a crazier thing. Um, yeah. Life since the surgery, but again, so life since the surgery. Life since the surgery has definitely been great. What can I say? I think I also used my surgery as a quote unquote excuse to buy a car. So I bought an SUV because I was like sitting too low. I didn't want to sit low anymore. So I found that excuse. I used that excuse to buy an SUV. I love my car, Sylvia. Me and Sylvia have been rocking since April of 2019. So, yeah. But what else? Life after since that surgery. Life has been like again especially during closer to that time. It was definitely more of a recovery thing. I was finding myself back in the gym. I was finding myself back in routine. I was finding myself back going to the grocery store by myself, driving by myself, and things like that. Driving to the hospital by myself. 'Cause again, if I lived in Fort Worth and I had to drive to Plano for checkups, you can just imagine how far that is. Um. So, mental and physical plan. Like I said, mentally, just getting back stronger, having less things, I guess, phase me they, the way that they didn't. So I'm still working on that again. How many years later? 5 years later, is again still working on stuff like that. Physically, I'm finally at a place where I'm at a steady, again, knock on wood, but at a steady place to where I can to get to where I need to be, feel physically strong the way I felt before. Like I said, slowly but surely, everything's a work in progress. So I'm definitely still getting there. What else? Did I leave anything out? Like I said, smacked my nurse. Couldn't wipe my butt. I had to get a bath. Didn't want to learn how to walk again. Had visitors. All the visitors. Oh, and then while I was in the hospital, one of my friends actually sent me a gift basket. Oh, and the Apple Watch thing. So while I was in the hospital, one of my friends sent me a get well, but two people sent me a get well basket. And I that was cool. That was dope to know that you could just again either buy one at the hospital and have them ship it to your room, or ship one from Atlanta. I think that's what one person did. One shipped one from Atlanta. Excuse me. One shipped one from Atlanta, and the other, again, purchased one and had it delivered to my room. Again, much appreciation for that. I love you guys very dearly, both for that. If I can find the picture, that'll be another picture I post as well. The Apple Watch. So basically, with the Apple Watch, the Series 4 had just came out And that's what my coworker had gotten. He was telling me about, and he was like, "Man, I like this thing." Like I said, EKG. So I bought the Series 4. That was like my Christmas gift to myself. Honestly, I bought the Series 4, and I was rocking with the Series 4 up until I cracked it, dropped it off the window pane, landed on ceramic tile. It cracked. It was looking ugly. Then I went ahead and got the Series 7 that same year when that Series 7 came out. But yeah, I think that's about it. But if I remember anything else, I'll probably just put it in the description. But I think that's about it. But like that would be the full description of like from start to finish of what happened. And even that year, that Christmas was good. Going back to work was good. Everything was everything at that time. It was just like I didn't expect to have that heart surgery so soon after the other one that I had. I mean, granted, it was 2012 going on to 2018, and I don't want to say, oh, well, but something's bound to happen, because I don't want anything to happen again. It's been a long time, and again, if this is something that happens to Marfan's people, it was better off. I wish I knew so I could be more mentally prepared for it, but it just hit me by surprise. But seeing that it is Marfan's thing and it is the Marfan homie, and if you haven't had that surgery yet, I would say pay very close attention to your aorta. I mean, again, ours grows at an excessive rate, quote unquote, excessive rate. But pay very close attention to your aorta. Because you never know what might happen. Honestly, you just never know what might happen. Go get checked out every year, every 6 months. Those checkups that you need to do. Just go ahead and get a CAT scan and have them scan basically from your heart to your abdomen and see what's going on. See if everything looks normal. Yeah, man, that's it. I think that's it. But yeah, apparently, like I said, a big part of Marfan's. My brother honestly just had his last year. One of my brothers had his last year, and he got out in half the time that I did. However, he did experience some of the same things I experienced leading up to it, and experience some of the things that I had going on with me in the hospital. So, but ultimately, he made it out the other side. Very, like I said, all smiles and laughter coming from us. So it's a thing. So hold on, I'm about to say got a visitor, but yeah, man, it was a thing. It's definitely been a thing. But I think that's it. So kudos to everybody that looked out for me. Kudos to everybody that was in my corner during that time, checking up on me, visiting me. All of y'all are much appreciated, and I love all y'all. Thank y'all so much. All y'all honestly hold a very special place in my heart. Literally, figuratively, whatever. Like, y'all hold a special place because y'all are all a part of my heart mending and my aorta mending back together. I'm not going to cry on camera, and I'm not going to cry over this podcast. Words of advice. And I put listen, all caps with an exclamation point. Listen to your body. It talks to you. Like I said, my body talked to me for 3 days in a row, and I ignored it for 2 days. So listen to your body when it is talking to you, because your body talks out loud. That was my body talking out loud. Like, it was crazy. Involve your family and friends. And another thing that I wrote, another word of advice is involve your family and friends. There are people that care. So yeah, involve your families and friends. There are people that care. And I wrote, just because they may not know. Oh, just because something may be wrong with you, they care what happens to you. And I said that saying, I never told my friends, especially, that I had Marfan. So they didn't know what was going on. You see, tall, slender. You see me. You some people think that there's something going on with you, but they just don't know what it is. So like I said, my friends didn't know I had Marfan, but they're your friends. They care what happened to you. So when I told them that I just had the biggest surgery of my life, they were instantly sad. Let's just put it like that. They were instantly sad, and it's just like, Elijah, why did you keep that from us? And I don't know. I didn't do any justice or anything, but I didn't protect them from anything because I still had the surgery, and they still found out about it. They just wish they would have knew what was going on with me, so they could have been there in a different way for me. And so I'm gonna even say that again. Involve your family and friends. There are people out there that care. Just because something may be wrong with you, they care what happens to you. And I put speak up. So again, I'm just here to say don't be afraid to tell people you have Marfans, or tell people that you have something that affects you dearly, because believe it or not, and you can say whatever, believe it or not, it affects them too. Because if I was to die, there's like, dang, you remember that one friend we had named Elijah? Like, I don't want to be that type of memory, or like a good person with a bad memory. Like, I don't know. It sounds weird, but like, all I'm saying is involve them, let them know, and again, continue to live life. But now you get to live life with people that have an extra care about you, or whatever the case may be. But definitely take that into consideration. All right, so we're at the conclusion space now. I've said this before. My physical journey isn't over. I really hope that my heart surgeries are done and I don't have to go under for anything heart related. However, if I do, I think I am more mentally and physically prepared now more than ever, which is very true. I was more mentally and physically prepared the second go round in Texas. My surgery that I had in 2020, I spent half the time in the hospital and I spent half the time recovering. I was prepared. And again, that was finishing off the rest of the abdominal aorta and then replacing it. But like I said, I spent half the time mending myself or recovering, and start to get back physically where I wanted to be. Because even at that time, I had 2 ankle surgeries before that heart surgery. And again, you can find out more about that on my other 2 podcasts, the one that's about my feet and the one about all my heart surgeries. But again, I'll read my conclusion again. I've said this before. My physical journey isn't over. I really hope my heart surgeries are done, and I don't go back under for anything heart related. However, I do have Marfan. However, if I do, I think I am more mentally and physically prepared than I ever was before. So there it is, guys. So be great. Be great. Be you. Be great. Be you. Like I said, shout outs to everyone. My home team. Shout out to my home team. All you guys know who you are. Shout out to my doctors. If you ever hear this, I shout you guys out a lot. Because again, you guys literally saved my life. How to reach me, social media, YouTube, everything. Everything will be in the description. Everything will definitely be in the description. And how to reach me, like I said, you can email me. If you do have my phone number, you can call me. If you want my phone number, ask for it. You can call me over the phone. What else? Marfan homie, Public Enemy. Any way that you could reach me through any of those links that I provide in the description, please feel free to reach out. Subscribe and click the bell. Like I said, we are on the YouTube. We are on YouTube. Well, I'm on YouTube. You see me. I'm here. You can see what I look like. See the pretty face behind the pretty voice. And again, subscribe, click the bell, and then I'll be here. And what's that? But yeah, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Like I said, I could tell you, I could probably gonna end up saying this story again sometime later down the road. Just to be like, just in case you forgot, let me tell you about this story. But I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys take very good care of yourselves, very good care of your health, and until the next time, y'all. Peace.